From jail to the gym, and now full-time personal trainer for over the last 4 years. Been personal training for over 10. I get to introduce to you Calvin Tedesco, full-time fitness coach, all the way from Chilliwack. Thanks for coming on, Calvin.
Hell yeah.
Just share with us, man, what did your fitness journey look like and what got you into personal training?
Oh, man. Well, as you already know, my fitness journey started in the Juvenile Detention Center when I was 15 years old. And at that time, fitness, I didn't know anything about this type of stuff. So I had been introduced to it as a youth, as a child even. But I didn't know that it could be such a catalyst for life change until I went to juvie. And it started to become something that made me excited to get up out of bed in the morning. I couldn't wait to work out. And I used that to kind of help me in my life. It started to make me interested in what other ways I could improve my life, And that led to me moving away. I went to Prince George, pursued different schools. I had educations there for fitness. And then eventually becoming a trainer and a full-time coach.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
You got one heck of a story. So from juvenile and going to juvenile actually changed your life and got you into fitness and working out.
Absolutely.
And then therefore, so what did that look like? How exactly did juvenile change your life?
Oh, man. Well, a lot of different ways. The first thing is that it just showed me a different way of living. Because when I was on the streets and stuff like that, or even just in the normal public school system, nobody tried hard at anything. Nobody really did good at anything. And it was almost like more like accepted, more commonly accepted to just be in the slums, to do drugs, smoke weed, drink on the weekdays, weekends, like that's all we lived for. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to juvie, probably one of the most impactful experiences of my life happened when I brought back my report card to the unit. And another youth looked at me and he's like, "Oh, hey, what'd you get on your report card?" And I showed him a C, C minus, stuff like that. And he just looked at me and he was like, "You're stupid."
Really?
And at that moment, he became like the greatest coach I could ever have because he gave me feedback. Because obviously, if you can't get a A on this basic math or science or whatever you're doing in school, that's pretty stupid. But the thing is I just wasn't trying.
Yeah.
I just wasn't trying. And it wasn't cool to try before. And so after I heard that and after I felt that, I just decided to take off the governing system because I was limiting myself, because of what other people thought of me. And by him saying that, it just kind of allowed me to be like, dude, it doesn't matter what people think of me. Like, if I can do good at this and I want to go get A's, I can. If I want to work out, I can do that. So all of a sudden, just anything I wanted to do, it was opened up to me.
I really love that story, man.
Yeah.
What did it look like getting into the actual fitness, personal training?
Yeah.
How did juvenile get you necessarily into that?
Good question. So I was around a lot of youth that were really high functioning. I noticed because we all eat 3 meals a day. We all go to bed on time. We all wake up at a certain time. It was very regimented, very disciplined lifestyle. And all of a sudden I was enamored by that. I was like, oh, I want to do that. I started to enjoy it. I started to want to be like that.
Yeah.
And so we would be a lot of times teaching each other, running each other through workouts because you always have someone to work out with in juvie. You're always around other men or other young men. And so, yeah, it was kind of like it from the beginning. Somebody else would be leading the workout most of the time. Then sometimes I would lead the workout. And it just kind of over time, as you get better and better at it, people are going to you for advice. So when I got out of there and I'm going to schools for fitness, I'm clearly the most in shape person, in the class. And so it just kind of escalated from there. And the teachers were seeing things in me to even get me to go to those programs. I had to have already been working my ass off in school and in the gym before they would even open up that door for me. But when I started going to these schools in Prince George, I mean, that's where I really got pushed into personal training, because the teacher was like, hey, you should go to school for kinesiology and become a personal trainer. I didn't even know what kinesiology was at the time. And so all of a sudden these things were opened up to me. And even because I was an at-risk youth, like, there's funding for these youth. And that's the craziest thing, because when I was a youth on the street, I didn't have funding. I didn't have advocates. But I'm the same person on the street as I am in the jail. I'm just in a better environment in the jail.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it was like, man, if we had that kind of mentorship or guidance for youth on the street, but it's tough, because a lot of them, we're hard people to even communicate with. Crazy.
Definitely. It's just mind-blowing to me how someone can go into a jail system and look at that as a better way of living. Yeah. So from where you come from, and then going into jail and realizing that there's a better way of living, a disciplined way of living. Yeah. And the fact that once you saw that, you got addicted to that and really went all in is really, really inspiring, man. And I
went back to jail on purpose.
Really?
I tell a lot of people I went back to jail on purpose, because the first time I went to jail, it was like there was an altercation that had nothing to do with the type of trouble I was getting in on the street. But that was my first exposure to the working out, to the eating 3 meals a day, living a structured life. And I really was drawn to that. And so when I was back on the outs, I tried to keep up my routine, but I started failing. It was the first time I had a setback. When I was probably about 16. I was out of jail for like 2 months. Yeah. And after about 2 months of kind of keeping up my routine, I was in the same environment. So I'm with my friends and we're doing this thing, and I'm still living at home in that trailer where we didn't have the running water, no working bathrooms in there. Like, it was just hard living, and being around adults and even other youth that are drug addicts and stuff like that. I was going crazy.
Yeah, no kidding.
I was going crazy. So it was tough for me to stay there, and I was looking for a way out. And my friends that one night were going out to do a robbery, asked if I wanted to join. Of course, I was down. And the way I weighed it out in my mind was like, well, if we succeed in doing the robbery, I mean, I'm going to have a little bit of money. I'd be able to support myself and not have to burden my parents about nothing. I just kind of start building my own thing here. And if I end up getting arrested, then I go back to that place where I was doing so well. So it was almost like a no-brainer. Like, I'm not going to go back home because that doesn't change anything. Like, I have to make a change.
That is just, I don't even know what to say. It leaves me really speechless, to be honest. And it's like, just the fact that you wanted to go back to jail to get out of your environment sparked so many different thoughts within my mind on, like, people need the guidance. People need to see the light, because when you're stuck in the dark or in that scenario or in those surroundings, you don't even know the other life. That a lot of the people that are still in those scenarios don't even know that there's a better life out there.
Dude, they're still stuck there, man. And unfortunately, like, a lot of my best friends at the time, they're still in that lifestyle.
Still in that situation.
And in even worse situations in a lot of cases.
That's wild, man. And
yeah.
The fact
gone either way.
Yeah, it could have gone either way for you. And you have to definitely be super proud of yourself coming from such a dark place and getting yourself to a place now where you're out there changing lives.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing, man.
Absolutely.
I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah.
What did that look like? Going back the second time, you wanted to go back in.
Dude, it was the best thing for me because I already knew what I was getting myself into. The structured environment was where I would excel.
Wow.
And that's what I teach people today in my programs today, is how to create a structured environment for themselves where they can excel. And I just knew, like, okay, I'm going back for it. Like, it was crazy. Even from being in the back of the cop car that night,
yeah,
I knew it was my last time. I knew I wasn't going back because this was my plan.
I love it, man.
Yeah, it was all part of it. It was part of it. And I even spoke it out loud. I was like, you're not going to see me here again, And I thought they probably thought I was crazy.
Yeah, they heard that.
I heard it a million times. I'm like, no, you'll see. And because I knew. And so when I went to trial, or we didn't even go to trial for that, I ended up taking a plea bargain, and then I got sentenced to a year. It was like 11 months and pretty much a year. I was going to get on New Year's Eve.
And you're 16 at this time.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, 16 years old. And so I just knew, hey, that's a year for me to get good grades, work out every day. I mean, what else can I ask for? But then, I don't know, it ended up taking another couple different turns because my co-accused, he had been going to jail for a long time. He had a lot of, I guess, connections in there. And they offered him a chance to go to Prince George to do a work program where they would actually train us to do forestry.
Oh, okay,
so we would go out in the bush and work, and we could actually make money because I was in open custody. So we're allowed those kind of things in open custody, where in closed custody you can't do that kind of stuff. So he put my name in. So that's the craziest thing. Like, here you go. Even on the street, this guy that I went to jail with, people were like, don't hang out with him because you're going to go to jail. He was just known for that.
It's crazy, right? The power of association.
Yeah. Everybody was like, dude, if you hang out with him, you're going to go to jail. And so even him, he was the one that gave me that opportunity because he put my name in. He didn't have to do that.
Wow.
And so we went up there together, and I met another friend on the way up there who's actually doing really well now. So I went to Prince George to do the work program, did all the courses and everything like that. But then what happened was they looked at my charges and said, oh, you got these violent charges. I don't think, we should let this guy out here to do, with the chainsaw and whatnot, which was totally ridiculous because I was like the best behaved. Like, I just keep to myself. I don't really get mixed up in anything. Occasional fights or whatever, but nothing too crazy. And so I was choked, man. I wanted to go home. And they ended up sending my co-accused home because he's the crazy one. And because when we came up there, they told us, if you're acting out, like, you're going to have to stay here. You're not going to get to go home. We can't get visits up there, right? It's rare because who the heck's going to drive all the way from down in Surrey all to come visit you in Prince George? I had one visit in 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyways, long story short, that gave me the opportunity because when I was working hard and going to school and working out, the teacher there in the English class was like, you would do good in this program, the TAPS program, where I met Sue McDonald. And I finally did get to go on an outing where I could leave the jail with the corrections officers to introduce me to Sue McDonald and the whole school there. And she was the one that was like, yeah, we go for runs every day at 7 a.m. or whatever. And, that was the pivotal moment for me was, okay, whatever I got to do to go here, I'm going to do it.
That's amazing.
And so that led to me moving to Prince George after I got released from jail. Because it wasn't all smooth sailing after I got out of there either.
Yeah, well, it takes time, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had to live in another program. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting released from jail to go to another program that's pretty much like jail. I got like an alarm on my door, and like I can't leave the house when I want to leave the house. I can't just go to the gym. So I just spent a year in jail, and I willingly put myself in another jail type setting where it was bridging me back into community programs.
So it keeps you disciplined,
Man, I was pissed though. Like, I didn't want to live like that. And it took me a while to even get to go to the school I want to go to because the semester didn't start right away. So it didn't all line up. Mm-hmm. And that one teacher went out of her way several times to come visit the house, see how I'm doing, talk me through it. Man. If she didn't talk me through it, man, I would have been back in jail again.
Really, eh?
I swear to you. Yeah. I was tripping, man. I'm like, I hate this. I don't like having these rules. I want to do all these positive things. Yeah. Right? I'm doing it right. I just want to go work out. I just want to go to school. Like, I want to do this boxing program. I want to do this meditation program. I want to do the youth mentorship program. Like, I just want to do all these positive things. Yeah. But I still had so many restrictions on me.
That's tough, man. It's like you just want to go make you just want to make the change in your life, and it's almost like it's holding you back from making the change. So you almost just want to leave. But then if you leave, you're going right back to where you were. So, it's amazing that Sue took her time to do that for you. And it just goes to show that, if you're doing that for anyone in someone else's life, you just don't know the difference that you're making. Yeah. So when you're reaching out to individuals, checking in, seeing how they're doing, it can make all the difference in the world. And you just don't know it. So shout out to Sue, Sue McDonald. So that's awesome.
Sue McDonald, Cynthia Coles, that's the other teacher I mentioned. And there's tons of other people, man. Like another thing, and this is a big part of my philosophy today, is like, it might not be one person's story that changes the person's life. Yeah. They might have to hear a dozen stories
before they change.
Yeah. So my story is just going to be one of a dozen people that has to reach this person, before they're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, I know you mentioned you wanted to go to school
Yeah.
for, what was it?
I ended up going to school for kinesiology.
Okay, yeah, so that fits right aligned in personal
Yeah.
training, and then this is where it kind of starts. So
Dude,
why don't you take
absolutely.
us from here?
Bro, so everything started falling into place like dominoes. It's crazy to me to think, because I could not have planned this as so much as far as what I said earlier was like, I need to go back to that place because I know I do better there.
Yeah.
I just knew that. And then I just knew that fitness was something positive. So I put all my energy into that. It's the one positive thing in my life. And then slowly through those things, other doors started opening, right? And so one of the doors that opened was Sue McDonald mentioned that you can go to school to study this stuff. You know, that thing you're so passionate about, working out, the human body, all this stuff. You can actually go to school for that. And I was like, what the heck? Like, and nobody I've known has gone to school.
Yeah.
Like post-secondary school. And so
cool,
what that happened was after I finished that program, I managed to get into another program where they have you on an agreement with, I think it's called an agreement with young adults.
Yep.
Or a youth agreement. I think I started off on youth agreement and then I switched over later. Where you actually get your own place. So you have your own little, it was just a cheap little house, like $500 a month rent.
Yeah.
Just like it was an attachment to a house. This nice lady. Again, a friend of another teacher.
Set you up there.
I got set up there. And that was my first little place on, on this place called Freeman Street. Freeman Street.
Not
making this up. Third Ave and Freeman Street. And 3's my lucky number. So I was like, how the hell does that add up, man? I don't know if you're into that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but how could you not when you're on a
definitely.
street called Third Ave and Freeman Street? And that's my lucky number, and I'm on Freeman Street.
Right
like,
out of
damn,
jail.
dude.
A free man.
Yeah, and so like I was saying before, these people kept holding me back, and the anger is building up in me, man. I'm getting pissed because I want to do all these positive things.
Yeah.
Well, now I live by myself. There's nobody telling me what I can and can't do.
Yeah.
So every single one of those damn programs, I was signing up.
You're doing all the programs.
Everything, bro. Everything.
Love it.
Everything. I'm in school. I'm boxing. I'm at the boxing club. I'm at the gym. I'm in a youth mentorship program. I signed up for a meditation program where I actually got to learn from Buddhists that would like teach me these concepts and like Eastern philosophy about compassion. And they brought me to these Buddhist empowerment, stuff like that. I got to meet like some monks and stuff, like legit in robes and the whole nine. I was this is insane, dude. This is next level, bro. But this is what I was doing 24/7. It's all I would do. I didn't have social media. I didn't have no laptops. I didn't have no internet, cell phones.
Just all in on yourself.
All in, man. And that's how it was for a good chunk of time there.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And why, so when you went back in the juvie, you know, I know you said like, you know, everything didn't work out as planned. There were bumps along the road.
Yeah.
There's times where you wanted to just leave everything.
Yeah.
But everything did start working out in the direction leading up to where you are now. Like you started meeting the right people that encouraged you and led you into the right direction.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think things started working out that way for you?
Dude, that's a good question. This has really shaped my philosophy because in life I've just noticed there's some things that are positive and some things that aren't. Some actions just bring about good things. They just tend to bring good things and they don't bring bad things. Certain actions tend to bring bad things and they don't bring good things.
Yeah.
So a good example of that is like working out. Trust me, I've tried to work out too much. At that time in my life I described to you, I worked out 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a day. Often. Because finally I was able to just do whatever I wanted, and working out was the thing that made me feel better.
Yeah.
That's all I knew about it. And all that happened was I ended up getting really good at working out, and I ended up becoming a full-time coach, which is later on in the story. But if you look at something like drinking, drug use, that kind of stuff, overeating, like I can't think of what positive it brings us, you know. Maybe sometimes you get to socialize with people, but think about the one bad time far outweighs
any good positive
any
thing
good
that
came
comes
out
from those
of it.
things. 100%.
Yeah. All those people that you socialize with, that you're having a good time, well, those could become your worst enemies when you have that one bad night.
Well, it's the wrong association. Technically, well, your story is perfect for it.
Yeah.
You are who you surround yourself with. And when you were in that lifestyle before,
Yeah.
right, if you went back there, you would have continued living that life. But you
Absolutely.
forced yourself to change your surroundings and get out of that scenario, and then therefore your life changed. So you are a product of your environment. So if you're
100%.
drinking to socialize, well, maybe you're socializing with the wrong people. So
Right? Like we could do other things to socialize. Like we were just doing some push-ups earlier.
yeah, exactly,
Like boom, like
exactly.
hey, we were like elevating. You know what I mean? Like I feel good. I got these ideas. Like my mind is working, and we're doing something positive.
I love it, bro. And you have to surround yourself with people who are going to help you elevate.
Yeah.
Definitely. So right after juvenile, technically you went into some more programs, forced yourself into every program that you could get into, which is just highly impressive.
Yeah.
It's on some David Goggins type energy stuff. And then you went into school. So kinesiology, which is also super impressive.
Yeah.
So take me from there. So the kinesiology, right? How long did that take you? And then when did you go full-time personal training?
Yeah, so good question. It was all one step at a time. Like I just got out of jail. I just killed it in high school because again, I hated my living situation. I lived for school.
Wow.
Yeah. So I graduated from there as a valedictorian and I went straight into college, which was a trip because again, every time one of these things finishes, I had the opportunity to go back home. So after jail, I had the opportunity to go back home. After the high school, I had the opportunity to go back home. Then I went to college. I'm like, okay, I'll just do the college and then I'm going to go back home.
Yeah.
And in that time period, my dad died.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's home. So home is gone. You know what I'm saying?
There is no going back home now.
There's no going back home. So I was like all in. I was already all in, but I always kind of planned on going home.
There's still a slight plan B in the back of your head, which would have led back to that kind of lifestyle, I could imagine.
Absolutely. And so it took me 3 years to finish college because I tried to take a smaller course load.
Yeah.
And that would enable me to also work in the field some, you know what I mean? Do some coaching, do some personal training. And I naturally was already starting to do personal training because I used to just teach people for free at the gym. I was always taking extra courses on bodybuilding or anything fitness related because I was interested in it. So even though I was taking these academic courses, biology and anatomy and physiology and all that stuff, I would always also take stuff for like, you know, actual exercises, and I'd be going to the gym every day, and then I would spend time after my workout to help these people with their workout. And I wasn't even thinking of it as a job or a career at all. It didn't even really compute. Like I wasn't thinking about money or anything.
You're just thinking about helping
my bills
people.
were paid. I was still getting funding from the ministry. I'm in care of the ministry.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? My family's not part of my life at that point. And so, after that finished, 3 years there, all my funding ran out. So now I'm on my own. And the girl I was with she was in the same program. And she was doing all the research on like, oh, where do the credits transfer? And what do we do after this? And so she figured out that all the credits from the college in Prince George transferred to the university in Chilliwack. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, damn, show me how to apply for a student loan because I don't got no more funding. So I applied for a student loan. Yeah. And then we moved to Chilliwack to go to university.
And this is when it started.
Yeah. So then I started teaching there. And I was already certified by that time because you had to have the college diploma to get the certification I wanted.
Okay, yeah.
So then I was officially certified. Then I was living in Chilliwack, officially being a personal trainer and earning a degree, which I didn't need to get the degree. Honestly, to be a trainer, you don't need to have any of that stuff. Like a lot of the certifications you can get out there, you don't need that much education. The main thing that you need to do is help people get results. It took me 6 years to finish my post-secondary education. That's coming straight out of juvenile detention. I went into high school, crushed that. Into the diploma program, crushed that, honor student. Into a degree program. Then I got a damn degree. I was so busy coaching clients, I didn't even go to my graduation. I didn't do graduation ceremony. I was at the track teaching.
I love this.
I was at the track. I was running laps, yelling, and all kinds of stuff. You go back to my social media on 2019, you'll see it. I'm a nutcase.
Check
I'm
it
just
out.
yelling and doing mad push-ups, and we were running crazy laps. And I was able to start teaching the other stuff, the personal development side of things. Because up to that point, I didn't have any young men clients. Like most of them was like, older individuals that they kind of looked at me like I was just a young kid. Like I didn't have much to teach them. Yeah. In terms of life. But the fact of the matter is that I had a lot more to offer than what they could give me credit for. So one day this younger man came up and he wanted to get personal training from me. But he said something like, I want to do what you're doing. I want to do what you're doing. I was like, really? You want to do what I'm doing?
He wants to learn it all.
He wanted to learn everything. And so it really opened up the floodgates for me to start teaching more than just fitness. Because I didn't get here just from fitness, as I explained. There's a lot of things I was doing, like reading these books and doing these meditations and all this other positive stuff. And so that one man there really changed the game for me because I was able to start teaching him these books. And one of the most fascinating ideas was the 60,000 thoughts a day. We each have 60,000 thoughts a day on average. And I just came to him and started telling him, I was reading about it in the book. I was like, you got to hear this idea. Listen, if you're the CEO of your own company and you got $60,000 that has to be invested every single day, otherwise that money just disappears. Are you going to invest it in something, productive that's going to help you move forward, or are you going to just waste it? You know what I mean? Just because you're going to get another $60,000 tomorrow, but it's kind of finite. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You only get $60,000 a day. That's the way I seen it. And he was like, man, that tripped him out. And so I said, are you just going to waste those 60,000 thoughts, or are you going to invest them in something productive that's going to move you forward in life? Amazing. And that's what got him most interested in starting to read these books. So over time, I started to get a couple more young men that wanted to train with us. We're running the track every single morning. And after we're done working out, we're going to the coffee shop to read these books and write in these journals. I was going to the bookstore with these guys buying stacks. I was like, put all the books on the table that you want to read. Boom, put them on the table. On me, I got it.
On you.
On me. So we would take all these books to the coffee shops. We'd be busting them out, highlighters, pens, marking pages, like sharing the notes back and forth, and writing down our goals. That was an integral part of our program. So after we're done at the gym, we'd go get into the books, into the goal setting, and then off to work. A lot of these guys would hit the 5 a.m. workout, 6 a.m. we're at the coffee shop, then we're at the workplace.
That's amazing.
That's how we would run the day.
And you started teaching these kids without actually a personal mentor teaching you. Like you didn't really have
This is just all me.
This is all you.
All me.
You came out of jail, you just started putting everything you learned from school, jail, your life, and then and your own discipline started teaching the kids. You had no mentor doing this to you. That
100% me.
That is amazing, man.
100% me. Because that's what I did to get to where I was. And he looked at me in the eyes, beaming. And he was like, I want to do what you're doing. You want to do what I'm doing? Because guess what? There's like 3 workout classes coming up. And we're going to do all of them. That was his initiation. And we did like 2, because I was teaching at a spin class.
Yeah, okay.
And I used to teach the boxing class there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we did both the spin classes, and then we did the boxing class at the end.
That's cool.
And that was like my 5th workout that day, because I had already worked out 2 times in the morning. I did track, and I did weights at the gym. And then so I did 2 spin classes, and then I did a boxing class when my legs cramped up and I couldn't stand.
Oh man, that is awesome. Oh yeah, I like visualize it happening there.
Oh yeah, we trained like that all summer. And so basically, not exactly like that, but we trained every day all summer. And it was an impactful thing. I just ran into one of those young men at the coffee shop the other day. He was bringing his book to the coffee shop.
Wow.
And he described to me how it changed his life, because it showed him, community, because we were building a team. Yeah. It showed him personal development, because we were like elevating our mind with these books and doing these workouts. And that helped him setting goals, getting into a career he wanted. And then in his new career, being able to facilitate some form of community, some kind of team, some kind of, hey, let's go outside and do this together. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, that kind of stuff is like, these are like timeless lessons that we can carry with us and apply in multiple different areas. It doesn't just have to be
working out,
fitness and working out. Exactly.
Really the same things that apply to fitness to be successful in fitness apply to life and business.
100%. I think
the
so.
same things apply. It's the same principles.
That's been the most difficult thing for me is every time I try to learn something in a new area, I'm like, I don't get it. But if I literally just take the stuff I applied in fitness, take the lessons and apply them, they do work. They carry over.
They carry over. Yeah. That's cool, man. That's really cool. Hey, thanks for sharing that.
100%.
And so what was one of the biggest fears going like, full time? Like now you're coming out of school and it's kind of naturally working its way into personal training, but like what fears were going through your head at this time?
Well, you know, there's always the anxiety, like how am I going to pay my bills? But I'm a hard worker. So at one point in my life, you know, I remember it being the summer, I think it was 2019. I can't remember exactly, but I was building swimming pools. So I was digging these ditches in the sun. And then I would go, because I had to teach at different places because I didn't have everything in one location.
Yeah.
I was teaching at this gym over here. I was helping a guy at a care home over here. And I was teaching at this gym over here.
Wow.
And I was building swimming pools over here. So I was all over the damn place.
Just working
as hard as I could. And then I was also training to compete in boxing. I ended up competing in bodybuilding that year. We couldn't get, the fights weren't lining up for boxing. The coach at the new gym I was training at was into bodybuilding. He said, when are you going to do a show? I signed up and did a show that year. So it was a really productive year for me. But eventually what I was able to do was, you know, start stacking up and making enough money just from the training.
Yeah.
And then let everything else go. And that was from that program, the morning group personal development program, which is very similar to the one that I teach today.
Wow.
5 a.m. I've never stopped teaching the 5 a.m. programs. Even during COVID, I still figured out how to get it done.
Yeah,
we would do outdoor programs, which, like I said, we were already doing outdoor. So when 2020 happened, I mean, we would just go back outside. We were already doing that.
Yeah, already working.
No big deal.
Outside.
Yeah, no big deal. So yeah, I've taught people how to work out, you know, at the gym or at a track or on these hills, on these stairs. You know, everywhere you go, there's somewhere outside that we could use for a workout space. Somewhere close by. I've never lived in a place where I haven't been able to find a spot close by where I could work out.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So maybe I'm just lucky, or there is a spot.
I think there's
a
spot.
Gotta find
yeah,
it.
exactly. You just gotta find it. Oh, that's cool, man. And what's your favorite type of working out? Like, what do you like working? Like, what do you like doing the most?
Dude, I do everything. So you probably see me doing the calisthenics.
Yeah,
I love that stuff. I'm passionate about it. And I love how it's low barrier to entry. You don't need to have excessive equipment. You don't need any equipment to do push-ups or squats or abs on the floor.
You just go to the park, or
you can go anywhere. We can do a full workout routine right here if we wanted to. Like, this could be a workout space.
Yeah.
I'm telling people, I'm like, yo, if you have a space the size of an elevator, you could get in shape. I'll show you. And then I love lifting weights, man. I like bodybuilding and I like powerlifting. And a lot of people don't know this, but I was an endurance athlete before I got into that stuff. So my first coach, like I said, Sue McDonald, she was a runner. So she had me doing running and circuit training, and she introduced me to my first boxing coach. Boxing's a lot of endurance. My boxing coach had me running 6 days a week.
Really?
So I would run every day. Oh, yeah, every day. 6 days a week, and then I would lift weights in the afternoons, and then I would box in the evenings 3 times a week. That was my schedule at one point.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And what advice do you have for anyone that is, say, working out, going to the gym, and they want to start moving in the direction of becoming a personal trainer? What advice do you have for them?
Yo, the best advice for anybody who wants to get into personal training, you have to live it. You've got to be it times 10. Whatever you want them to do, you've got to do it times 10.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. And you don't miss days. There's no days off from being a coach or being a trainer.
You have to be
especially if you want to be a coach, where you're actually starting to get into the personal development.
Yeah.
There's no days off from that. And you have to do more. You're a leader.
Yeah.
And so there might be a difference between a personal trainer who just shows up and teaches the clients and's got their clipboard.
Yeah.
And then a coach who is like, no, I live this. I breathe this. I will put the clipboard down to do the push-ups with you if that's what it takes.
True leadership.
That's the kind of person I am.
I love it.
So I don't want to like just fit the mold of personal training, but I think a good trainer would be the one that is living and breathing it times 10.
Yeah, going all in, and like you said, leading by example.
Leading by example.
And if you want people to get to here, you got to be here. You got to be that example. People don't do what you say; they do what you do.
Yeah, absolutely, and that carries on every area of life, man.
That's great.
There's nothing we can tell them. We have to show them, and that's why every day on my social media, You see me post the book. You see me post the workout. You see me post the macros. You see me post the reflections. I do it all, and I demonstrate to these people.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Lead by example. Really great advice, man, and really well put, and really such an amazing testimony, Calvin.
Yeah.
From jail, from juvenile at 15, 16, to changing his life in jail, to heading into personal training, and now full-time fitness coach. And I love how you kind of shared a little bit of the difference of just personal training to being a full-time fitness coach. You're not just personally training them around the workouts, but you're coaching them in life too.
Oh, yeah.
Giving them the books, sharing the wisdom and knowledge, and giving them some guidance to move forward in life.
Why hold back, you know? If you got more to teach them, why don't you just teach them?
I love it, brother.
Yeah, teach.
Amazing. Such an amazing testimony. You're such an amazing example. And I really hope that this interview shed some light on maybe some individuals who may be going through that, you know, that tough time or in that tough area in life and want to make a change. I really hope this hits home and gives some individuals some guidance who really want to make some change. And thank you, Calvin, for sharing your story, for being vulnerable, and for sharing everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sure there's a lot more to the story as well, but definitely got to be proud of yourself and how far you come from the lifestyle you came from, Calvin. So thanks for coming on the show. Absolutely. I'm going to put all Calvin's information down in the description. Make sure you follow. And if you're in the Fraser Valley area, Chilliwack, Abbotsford, Langley even, this is your man to go to. Reach out. Check out his Instagram page for sure. He's helping clients get some really amazing results, and just an amazing coach, amazing mentor, and leader yourself.
Thank you.
Again, Calvin, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, bro.
And over and out.